What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and I'm trying to do this little foxbody like basic series just because I know there's a lot of people that are looking into, kind of getting into the game. Like, they like fox bodies, they think they're cool, and the older they get, more people are wanting to do that. So what I'm gonna do today is just wanted to go over some of the things you need to consider if you're planning a build, and not only just your skill level, but when you see a car, knowing when to walk away, because there is a point where if you're actually looking for a car to build, you should walk away. Now, there is a difference in whether you're looking for a parts car or a car to build, and I'm gonna get into that too, so let's go. Okay guys, so if you're looking for a project car, like you're looking for a basis for something that you can build up and make a car for yourself, ultimately, and you're planning on, putting quite a bit of work in, then there's a lot of options. But again, you have to be ready and, willing to talk about the fact that, hey, you might have some limitations as far as your skills and ability to put a car together. If you're a great mechanic, if you're good, wrenching on stuff, that's great. But are you a body guy? And if you're a great body guy, are you a good mechanic? So just because you know how to do one thing doesn't mean you know how to do the other thing. And if you're going into a major project, then you got to consider that stuff. So like if you take this car right here, this is a 92 notchback. There's no rust on the car. Okay, so that's a good thing. Obviously it's going to need paint, it's going to need moldings. Interior's not horrible, but and the body's not horrible. It's going to need paint. But, overall, it doesn't have any rust, anything like that. So, I mean, this would make a really good project car for somebody, especially if you're more mechanical, because you can put this car together right here, put an engine, transmission, rear end in it, basically throw it together and, know it's not going to look all that great, but you can have it running, and you don't have to go, basically taking the car down to a shell and cut out floor pans and cut out shock towers and basically put a new body on the car. So when you're looking for something that you can bolt an engine and transmission in and do with, something like this would be really good. All right guys, so there's also those opportunities where you come across where you'll find a car like this. Like, okay, no, you're not building a convertible, no, you don't you don't like the color or anything like that. Maybe it's even a 4-cylinder, but you've got a lot of good parts. So, stuff like this that you can pick up $300, $400, $500 depending on what's there. These are good cars to buy, and there's quite a few of them out there. Maybe you need another K-member. Maybe you need to replace a core support on your car. Maybe it needs a door, a fender, a quarter, whatever. Stuff like this is good to buy simply because, a lot of those little parts that you think you have and you don't, or you don't have and you don't have them, stuff like harnesses and connectors and just little brackets and stuff like this, seat belts, whatever. Cars like this, while they'll never get built into an actual car, are really good for having those little spare parts. I mean, you never know when you're going to need a door harness or an HVAC case or whatever. So if you come across one of these and you've got the property or whatever, a place to store it, and you can get it for a couple $100, those are perfect cars to buy. Do it. Okay, so there are other options. I mean, you can find these cars in essentially any condition, and we're going to take this, I believe this one's an 89, and okay, this car, Dover picked it up out of Memphis for $1,000. The car actually does run, and let's see if I can get up under the hood and take a look. But here, as we open the hood, it's freaking rough. They actually had a V-belt on it, but this car has been jacked with, and just, it's had an extremely hard life. It does run, and it, like, for the most part, it's all there, but this is one of those things where you'd have to think long and hard. I mean, it's probably going to need fender aprons. Looks like it's been crashed and repaired. That fender apron's bent pretty good. But I mean, again, if you've got a clean 4-cylinder car like the red notch I just showed you earlier that you need a drivetrain for, this is freaking perfect. You got your engine, you got your trans, you got your 8.8, you've got your harness, you've got fuel lines, you've got V8 spindles, all the stuff that you would need in a car like this, which is rougher than crap. I mean, the fender and the door are screwed. The hood doesn't want to open. Looks like a hood blew up at some point. You know, something like this is going to have essentially every single part you need to take the 4-cylinder car I showed you earlier and make it a V8, you know, a 505 speed, 8.8 rear end car. And, you know, to have those things like the brake lines, like the spindles, like the fuel lines, like the wiring harness, the PCM, all that stuff, that is definitely a good thing. So while they are getting extremely hard to find, they are still out there. If you scour, you know, Facebook, Craigslist, you know, there's a million different places you can look, but they are still out there. Grab them if you can. Questions I get about these cars, people want to know, like, what do you pay for them? What does something like that cost? But the problem is you have to take every car on a case-by-case basis because, you know, quite frankly, you don't know what in the world's wrong with it. Like a car like this is a 4-cylinder. It actually doesn't run very good. It is pretty rare. It's in really good shape. But, you know, this car right here, I mean, it's really hard to say. It depends on the owner. I mean, you could go anywhere $500 to $1,500 on a car like this. You know, it just depends on what's all there, what's not there, etc. Something like this that, you know, basically has no hope of ever becoming much of anything but parts, you know, I'm going to give anywhere $200 to $500, maybe $600. Something like this, $300-400, if that. I mean, that's on the very top of the list. These cars are actually really good, and you can actually get these probably cheaper than you can get a Fox. And the reason being is they've got all your 5-lug stuff. Your brakes, your spindles, lines, all of that stuff you can get off of these cars and convert to 5-lug on the cheap, and then sell the rest of the car for the other parts or scrap it and make your money back. Something like this you're going to pay more for. Why? Because it's a notchback, everything's there, it actually runs. I mean, you're going to give $1,500, right around there. $1,500 probably going to be the top unless the car's super clean. But again, it just depends on your area, and, you know, if there's rust, you know, rust is the total deal breaker for me because you don't know how far it is. If you see any rust, might as well assume that the rest of the car's rusted out too. It's just one of those things. But all right, guys, so that is about what I've got for you on this upload. Again, I get a lot of questions about these cars and, you know, the values and, you know, which car should I buy and all that, and that's very hard to do, simply because, you know, when you go to look at a car, you don't know what's there, what's not there, what it's going to need, what it's not going to need, what your build is going to be, and, you know, what you need for your build. So, you know, there's really no way I can give you an accurate, you know, answer for that. But I did want to just kind of give you, you know, a few tips on, you know, what to look for. You know, avoid rust, know what you need when you're going in. You know, if you only need it for the doors on the dash, you know, don't pay a bunch of money for a car because it's got good this or good that. If you don't need it, then don't buy it unless you plan on selling it again. But again, there's all kinds of these cars out there. They're getting harder to find, yes, but they are still out there, and snatch them up. You know, parts are getting more expensive, they're getting harder to find, and if you're wanting to do a Fox build at some point, I would go ahead and start looking now, because every day more and more of them disappear. So that is what I got for you guys. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and lots more builds coming. Later, guys.